no matter how many plans. Look, it's inevitable. As your car truck ages, the parts.
Hi guys, welcome back to Pillars of Eternity 1. Still at the beginning. I think we're at Gilded Vale. And we're zoning out the town. So we gotta go around the town, pick up all the quests. And there's a dungeon in town we gotta go to. We just picked up 2 companions, Aloth and Vendir.
Don't get enough magnesium, which is vital for bone, nerve, and muscle health. I recommend Goodall's magnesium glycinate. It's formulated for high absorption and is gentle on the stomach. Goodall, the brand I trust.
Fox News Alert, back to the breaking news now. Let's go straight to Trey Yanks. He's got an update for us on this targeted attack on the Hezbollah commander in Lebanon, a suburb outside of it. What are we learning now, Trey?
Yes, Sandra, good afternoon. At this moment, Israeli media is reporting that Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrived at the Kiryat, Israel's version of the Pentagon, here in Tel Aviv just moments ago for a situational assessment. We are following those reports from Reuters that indicate the target of this Israeli strike in southern Beirut may not have been eliminated. Sources telling Fox News they are still gathering information on the success level of this strike. There are some reports that indicate Israeli forces do remain on high alert in the north in case Hezbollah decides to respond to this strike. But remember, while the Israelis have laid out what their red line is, Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, has laid out his. In recent weeks, he's given interviews indicating that if Israel strikes Beirut, he would respond by striking Tel Aviv. Again, these are often threats and propaganda that are put out into the media by Hezbollah amid the ongoing war with Israel. But some of the threats that Hezbollah makes, they often actually conduct. As we saw earlier today, as sirens were sounding across the northern part of this country, rockets and drones being fired over the border, killing 1 Israeli civilian earlier today. And of course, that
I like swift aim, we'll go with it.
On Saturday, that killed 12 young Druze civilians in the northern part of the Golan Heights. What the Israelis say is a direct response to this strike in southern Beirut against this top Hezbollah commander earlier today. And again, the latest that we can report, according to Israeli media, is that Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has arrived just moments ago at the Kiryat, Israel's version of the Pentagon here in Tel Aviv, to hold situational assessments and determine whether or not this strike in Beirut was successful. Sandra, John?
All right, Trey Yanks for us with the latest from Jerusalem. Trey, thank you. Let's bring back retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg for more perspective on this. So, Lebanon's Foreign Minister, Abdallah Abu Habib, is saying that he hopes for a proportionate response by Hezbollah, quote, so that this wave of killing will stop. I mean, shows the tangled web of Lebanese politics when you have the Foreign Minister saying, I hope Hezbollah will launch a proportionate attack. I mean, clearly, we know who's running the country there. And what do you think Hezbollah will do? Because just a couple of days ago, Hezbollah was saying that they were prepared to withdraw north of the Litani River if Israel were to stop its attacks, and then everything went all sixes and sevens.
Yeah, John, again, thanks for having me again. Look, to start with, Hezbollah should have been out of that region 20 years ago because there was a UN Security Council resolution, 1701, said they're supposed to withdraw. In fact, disarm Hezbollah north of the Litani River. They haven't done that. Second, I think what you're seeing is you, not to be a pessimist, but I think you're starting to see an escalatory cycle that is going to get quite dangerous because if Hezbollah does respond, be it Haifa or goes into Tel Aviv, then the Israelis better option to go really, really hard back into Lebanon against Hezbollah. And I think that is very, very probable right now. I don't think Hezbollah will take their foot off the gas at all. I think everybody you've had on before has been very, very clear. Part of this issue is that we have not been very determined, being very clear, very concise on our support of Israel. And Tehran needs to know that, and Hezbollah needs to know that, and the Houthis need to know that, and Hamas needs to know that, and we have to send that signal. Look, the rockets that hit that Druze, that was school children that are playing soccer, that was a Block 1 rocket. That is made by only one country, Iran.
I don't think we finished this quest.
Where that rocket came from, who shot it. And Hezbollah can say all they want, but they know where the rocket came from, who made it, and what it was intended to do. And I think you're going to see the Israelis be unafraid to go very, very hard on Hezbollah. Look, the world cabinet right now in Israel is really Ron Dermer, former ambassador to the United States from Israel. It's Gallant, their Secretary of Defense, and Netanyahu. The Knesset is out of session. That means they cannot take any political action against Netanyahu. His hands are kind of freed right now to do what he wants to do. The only concern I would have with Israel going into Lebanon right now is, do they have the logistics backup to be able to do that? They've been fighting for over 9 months Hamas. They've expended a lot of munitions. We have not backfilled that with those munitions. As you made a comment earlier, Netanyahu came with a shopping list, and they haven't gotten it yet. But I think there'll be no option, especially if Hezbollah attacks hard in Israel. The Israelis will respond, and this crisis just got more and more trickier to try to resolve. And I think that's where we're heading.
Also just hitting the wire right now, the Lebanese foreign minister is telling Reuters that Lebanon condemns Israeli strike plans to file complaints to the UN. Also, the Lebanese foreign minister hoping for a proportionate response by Hezbollah so that this wave of will stop. That is crossing the wires right now as we continue to report the breaking news. General, thanks for hopping back on with us. We'll continue to update you on this and what we just heard about Kamala Harris and her potential running mate. We'll have the breaking news when we return.
Love this stuff. I was completely amazed and so grateful. Something finally worked. Now we both use Vendir whenever we need relief.
Are you a veteran going home and need money for your family? New Day USA can help. Veterans have earned a lot of VA benefits.
Shit.
But the VA home loan benefit is a big one. By using your benefit at New Day, you can borrow up to 100% of your home's value. Take out an average of $70,000. Use that money to pay off high-rate debt and get back on your feet financially.
Call 1-800-360-5763.
Is your shower trying to tell you something? Is getting in and out of the bathtub becoming a safety concern? Are you worried about the cost of a bathroom remodel that could go on for weeks and weeks? Well, now you can have a gorgeous new bathroom shower that's safer at a price you can afford with a one-day jacuzzi bath remodel.
It was done in the same day. You did not have to wait. It is amazing.
I would give this whole experience an A+. I definitely wish I would have called sooner.
From soft close shower doors and adjustable shower heads to features like grab bars and custom seats that combine safety and style, it's never been easier. Get your free design consultation, schedule your one-day installation, and start loving your new bathroom shower right away.
Only weeks left to get wave installation at no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-991-2603. That's 800-991-2603. Call now.
Hi, Grandma. I played baseball today.
Oh, that's great.
What position did you play?
First base.
That's what my grandpa used to play.
When our hearing wouldn't allow us to use a regular phone, it made us feel isolated.
It became difficult to communicate with our friends and family.
Clear Captions was an easy solution for us.
Clear Captions provides captions on a phone like captioning on your TV, so you can see what the caller is saying live as they say it,
Making it easy to understand and respond immediately.
There is no insurance or Medicare required. Clear Captions service is provided at no cost to you through a federally funded program.
Welcome.
We deliver, install, and train you on how to use your phone, all at no cost to you.
Give your loved ones the independence and connection they deserve.
Call now to see if you qualify to get a Clear Captions phone at no cost to you. Call 1-800-690-1802. That's 1-800-690-1802.
Ooh. Man, I don't know what's out there this thing. That's so close to the stadium. I'm actually getting the last room for $190.
I booked the last one a week ago.
I booked yesterday. Well, I had $140.
What?
Some sites panic you into booking their last room. They don't have all the availability. Instead, use Trivago. Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to $50 a night.
At least I got the last ticket to the games.
Hotel? Trivago.
For the fourth consecutive year, Interactive Brokers is one of the fastest growing prime brokers. and is now number 5 in Preakn's ranking of top prime brokers. Interactive Brokers serves both organizations and individual investors. To get better results, get a better platform. The best informed investors choose Interactive Brokers.
We needed a project manager yesterday. We posted a job at ZipRecruiter and had our guy on site 5 days. He was qualified in every way. ZipRecruiter finds the best candidates for all our jobs. They helped us build our dream team and did it fast.
Try it free at ZipRecruiter.com/funds.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is.
All right, beef steaks is in full swing for Vice President Kamala Harris. And just moments ago, this is brand new. As we look at those VP contenders for Harris, she was making her way to Atlanta. She stopped and spoke for just a minute as she was boarding Air Force Two. She took a question from the pool reporter on whether she has chosen her running mate. She said not yet as she was boarding the plane. That was just before 2:28 p.m. Eastern Time. A few moments ago, Brian Yanis is live for us in Pennsylvania, which obviously will be crucial to Democrat success in the must-win state. Brian, what are the people there telling you about?
Well, based on that breaking news, we do know that Vice President Kamala Harris wants to make a decision by August the 7th, so sometime next week. The people here in Pennsylvania tell us they like their guy, Governor Josh Shapiro. They like the way he speaks to a crowd. They believe he can fire people up, and they think his bipartisan reputation will go a long way on the national stage. So here's the update on the beefsteaks. We've got Governor Shapiro, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly on the short list, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. It no longer includes North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, who dropped out last night, but it now reportedly includes Michigan Senator Gary Peters, who is backed by unions in the critical swing state.
Labor is absolutely essential for victory, particularly in states like mine and in Michigan. You know, we're coming off of Joe Biden, who was without question the most pro-union president that we've had. I'm confident Kamala Harris will be that pro-union president as well.
But as I mentioned, here in Pennsylvania, Shapiro is the pick. Yesterday's rally might as well have been a pep rally for him to be VP. Voters tell us they like how he aggressively attacks former President Trump. Here's Shapiro calling Trump weird yesterday, and a tagline the Harris campaign continues to use.
You ever see this guy, like when he's on the stage, he like kind of meanders over, can't really walk well, and he goes over to the flag and he like hugs the flag, and I love the flag, but it's a weird thing he does, right? But while he's hugging the flag, you know what he's doing? He's ripping away our freedoms.
Interestingly, Shapiro and Whitmer were also cursing a lot more in yesterday's rally, which we found interesting, potentially an effort to go after that youth vote. We spoke to voters who say, frankly, there is more energy at Harris rallies than they are at Biden rallies. Listen.
It's just an excitement that's growing with everyone, young voters, all of my family.
But what is your message to fans?
You don't mess with childless cat ladies. He just talks nonsense with all the stuff that's going on in the world, and he's going to pick on childless cat ladies.
So obviously the campaign hoping there are more Joyces out there that are motivated by J.D. Vance's comments about childless cat ladies. And Sandra, all I can say is that the campaign has been a very weird 2024, and that just puts a period on it.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much, Brian. All right, John.
Well, 2016, we had the pink hats, now we got cat masks. Who knows where this is going? Vice President Harris departing moments ago for a campaign event in Atlanta, Georgia. Rapper Megan Thee Stallion is performing. And Georgia Democrats say Harris has re-energized them. But can that momentum turn into votes? She's hoping to replicate the 2020 results that delivered the state to a Democrat for the first time in decades, though perhaps better than the 2020 results for her own campaign. Sophia Kai is a national politics reporter for Axios and joins us now. So if you take a look at the Real Clear Politics polling average, of Trump versus Harris down there in Georgia. Trump is at 48.5%. Harris is at 44%. That's similar to Trump's lead over Biden before he dropped out. So does her becoming the nominee really make much difference?
I mean, we're only just over a week in, right? The thing about Georgia is Georgia was a state that the Biden campaign, the then Biden campaign, was most concerned about losing. I mean, I heard privately from Democrats that they didn't have anyone else running who could really turn out the Democratic base. They don't have Warnock, they don't have Ossoff, they don't have Stacey Abrams. But now, the reason that they think that Vice President Harris changes the game now is that, because of who she is, she may do a better job of turning out the Democratic base than someone like President Biden.
Right. Okay, so the Trump campaign is going after her hard with new attack ads, and including this one on immigration. Take a look here.
This is America's border czar, and she's failed us. Under Harris, over 10 million illegal a year. 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl. Brutal migrant crimes. And ISIS.
That's a really tough ad, and it reminds me of an ad from back in 1988, which is probably too long ago for you to remember, but remember this one. Take a look here.
Bush and Dukakis on crime. Bush supports the death penalty for first-degree murderers. Dukakis not only opposes the death penalty, he allowed first-degree murderers to have weekend passes from prison. One was Willie Horton, who murdered a boy in a robbery, stabbing him 19 times.
That ad torpedoed Mike Dukakis' campaign, and Trump has tried to do the same thing on immigration with Kamala Harris. Will it work?
They gotta hope that it will. I mean, Trump, in many ways, he's concerned about Harris because the thing that Trump respects the most is people who have riz. And privately, I've been hearing from people in the Trump camp that Trump acknowledges this is someone who's younger, a little bit more energetic. So he's got to stay really focused on attacking Kamala Harris on the issues like immigration, the border. I mean, those are real issues that Americans are very concerned about, even in landlocked states. I mean, I would hear from people in the primaries. And so, immigration, the economy, trying to tie Kamala Harris to Bidenomics, those are going to be the key focuses for the Trump campaign, and we're seeing that.
Well, they could probably also hit her. They could probably also hit her on the issue of fracking, because listen to what she said back in 2019.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. I have a history of working on this issue, and to your point, we have to just acknowledge that the residual impact of fracking is enormous in terms of the impact on the health and safety of communities.
Now, but here's what she told Politico, at least her campaign did on Sunday. Harris's campaign pledged the elected Democratic presidential nominee would not ban fracking, rejecting what it called false accusations by Donald Trump that she would prohibit the technology if elected president. The receipts are out there. It's real tough to flip back 2 seconds.
Yeah, it could be very problematic for her because, this is obviously politics.
Yeah.
The Trump campaign is going to use her words against her.
Let's go here.
Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. We'll be right back after this.
It's time. Yes, the time has come for a fresh approach to dog food. Every day, more dog people are deciding it's time to quit the kibble and feed their dogs fresh food from the farmer's dog. Made by vets and delivered right to your door, precisely portioned for your dog's needs. It's an idea whose time has come.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Acorn Stair Lifts has the solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride.
It's a lot of story, I have to admit.
World's leader in stair lifts. Don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside. Call Acorn Stair Lifts now for a free information kit and no obligation quote. Why risk falling when you can safely ride?
Our Acorn Stair Lift is definitely more affordable.
The Acorn Stair Lift has an added seat and backrest. Safety sensors stop the chair if there are obstacles. The seat swivels and locks so you don't twist your body. And the Acorn Stair Lift folds away. It even runs during power outages.
I was really surprised at how little it costs. Call 1-800-709-4205 right now for your free information kit or visit our website today. That's 1-800-709-4205.
A heart attack? Do they have life insurance?
No,
But we have life insurance. John.
I'm trying to find something we can afford.
Fortunately, in only a few minutes, SelectQuote found John a $500,000 policy for only $29 a month, and his wife Ann a $500,000 policy for only $21 a month. Go to SelectQuote.com now and get the insurance your family needs
At a price you can afford. Select Quote. We shop. You save.
Boris went on one with Donald Trump. Part 2. From foreign policy to inflation and the Democratic Party.
They're a threat to democracy.
The must-see interview tonight on the Illegal.
Do you remember the Achilles stuff together? It was called.
You think of it?
Yeah, but it's right so scary and not good. Blind girl?
I think that I like TV shows.
Seems like how I somewhere else lately. Sometimes I think her face feels smaller than my
It was a TV show.
Are you sure that's what it was?
Oh, hey. Hey, what was the question? No. Can I get off the river? What?
If you're going to drive when you're high, think again. Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration. A message from Chimera. When it comes to drugs, how much weed is too much for kids? Drugs are out there. Will my team feel free to say no around other kids? I didn't live drug-free when I was younger. Can I admit that to my kids? Drugs were me. How can I feel free to talk about it with my kids?
Questions about drugs and kids? Call or chat to get real-time support.
Our Jackie Heinrich was just pressing White House press secretary at the White House moments ago on the president's plan to overhaul the Supreme Court. Watch this exchange.
The president himself did on his campaign trail in 2020 said about term limits, presidents come and go, Supreme Court justices stay for generations. I'm not trying to change that at all. It was 2 different days he spoke to this, so how did we get there?
Where's my chair now?
He appreciates the commission, appreciates the work that they've done. Their job was to give the president some thoughts and ideas, and obviously the president makes the final decision on how he wants to move forward. We have to look at what the Supreme Courts have done. Wait. You got 21. Let me answer the question. I'm not done. Let me finish the question. In the past several weeks, the actions that the Supreme Court has taken in undermining democracy and the rule of law, that's important. The president felt he needed to address this.
Okay, there was even a lot more to that exchange. It was pretty remarkable. I was listening to it earlier during one of the commercial breaks. SCOTUS is not normal, she said. We need to rise to meet the moment for what SCOTUS did. It was pretty remarkable as we do see this White House pushing now for reforming of the Supreme Court.
Well, we do know that nothing's going to happen before Biden leaves office. We'll see what happens after the November election on that front. But don't forget that it takes a constitutional amendment to make a couple of the changes, or at least one of them that Biden's looking at. And I doubt, given the politics of the nation, that you're going to get a constitutional amendment on the Supreme Court.
A very revealing exchange there. We'll likely hear more about that, John.
It was. All right, now this, a live look at Henderson, Nevada, is former President Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, set to rally in the Silver State, focusing on reducing inflation and making Trump-era tax cuts permanent. Fox Business correspondent Grady Trimble live in Las Vegas with more. Grady, it seems like just yesterday you were here in D.C. How's it looking out there?
It is. It's hot outside, but good energy inside here, John, for what are Senator J.D. Vance's first 2 rallies here in Nevada since former President Trump chose him as his running mate. And this is a state that Trump has never won, but recent trends give Republicans hope that maybe they could have a victory here come November. Trump had a lead in the latest polling in Nevada, but that was before Vice President Kamala Harris became the Democrats' presumptive nominee. What little polling we do have now suggests that Harris does better with young people and non-white voters compared Today, we expect Vance, who, as you know, is the first millennial VP nominee, to try to appeal to both of those groups at his two rallies by highlighting plans to lower costs for Nevadans and cut taxes. We just heard mention of the policy
We have to go to the temple. Yes.
which is no tax on tips. But over the past couple of weeks, Vance's first several events as a candidate have sort of been overshadowed by comments he made years ago about women. Some Democrats are even suggesting it's gotten so bad that Trump should replace Vance on the ticket. But in an interview with Laura Ingraham last night, Trump defended his running mate.
He's got tremendous support. And he really does among a certain group of people that like families. He made a statement having to do with families. He loves family. It's very important to him. He grew up in a very interesting family situation, and he feels family is good. And I don't think there's anything wrong in saying that. Now,
all right, and as Macho Man plays here, as we await Senator Vance to hit the stage in about an hour or so, we also know that from here he's going to go to another rally in Reno, Nevada. Then tomorrow he's got a rally in Arizona. And then on Thursday he's going to hit the border, another theme that we're going to hear from him a lot in the next several weeks, especially here in the Sun Belt states that have been so impacted by border issues, even as far up as Nevada here. John?
All right, great trip before us in Anderson of the J.D. Vance campaign. Thank you so much. And we will soon learn, Sandra, who J.D. Vance will be debating.
Won't that be interesting? And by the way, as we continue to follow the breaking news in the middle
I forgot to do something in town. We have to go back. Son of a gun. It's okay, we're going back.
Calling it a dangerous escalation, John.
Well, I would expect Hamas to say that. I would expect Iran to say what it did, and I would expect Russia to say
probably fatigued, right?
But the real
no, I got to level up.
The tale will be told when we hear from Nasrallah. As Kurt Volker was saying, well, he's saying we will respond at a time and a place of our choosing, because that could be an off-ramp for him. He doesn't want war. Iran doesn't want war, but they do want to mix it up with the region. No question.
All right, our coverage will continue here. John, great to be with you. I'll see you back here tomorrow.
All right, good to be with you, and good to be with you at home as well. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Roberts.
And I'm Sandra Smith. The story with Martha McCallum starts right now. Martha? All right, thank you very much. John and Sandra, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum. A breaking story this afternoon. Israel saying that it carried out a strike in Beirut, Lebanon, targeting the Hezbollah commander believed to be behind the attack on the soccer field in the Golan Heights that killed 12 children. But the commander reportedly survived, according to the latest reports from Reuters. Retired Four-Star General Jack Keane is standing by. But first, let's go live to correspondent Trey Yates reporting from Tel Aviv as the news continues to break this hour in this escalation in the Middle East. Hi, Trey.
Yeah, Martha, good afternoon. Earlier tonight, the Israelis launched their retaliation to that deadly rocket attack on Saturday that killed 12 Jewish children and teens. Tonight, the Israelis launching a strike against the Hezbollah stronghold in the southern part of the Lebanese capital of Beirut. We saw some of this aftermath video. You can see a tall building in the center part of the city partially collapsed. This was the location where, according to the Israelis, there was a senior Hezbollah commander responsible not just for the rocket attack on Saturday into the Golan Heights, but for a variety of attacks against Israel, and what the Americans say, previous attacks for decades. So a high-value target that was struck tonight, reportedly by the Israelis. But again, there are mixed reports across the region about whether or not he was killed. We reached out to Israeli officials who are still gathering information about this strike earlier tonight in Beirut. A senior Israeli official telling me this strike was about sending a clear message. That source went on to say that they do not want to see a wider war, but this is now in the hands of Hezbollah. We also got more information about how this decision was made. Following the attack against Majdal Shams, that community in the northern part of the Golan Heights, the Israeli cabinet met. They had a variety of options in the first 24 hours. This option was among that first group and ultimately was decided upon by the Israeli cabinet and the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Now tonight, Netanyahu is meeting with top military officials here in Tel Aviv at the Kiryat. As we speak, he is conducting an operational assessment to determine whether or not the targeting of this successful. Martha?
Okay, Trey Yanks, thank you very much. Been a very busy and dangerous time in the region. So with that, we bring in retired 4-star General Jack Keane, former Army Vice Chief of Staff, and now Chairman of the Institute for the Study of War. General, always good to have you with us. I want to start, obviously the biggest concern here is that there is an escalation that leads to a wider and larger war in the region. Here's the White House response to the reaction to this Beirut, south of Beirut attack. And here's what they said about it. Watch.
We do not believe that an all-out war is inevitable. That is not something that we believe, and we believe that it can still be avoided. That there's a diplomatic solution here, and that's what we're trying to get to.
General Keane, your thoughts on what's going on here?
Yeah, well, some of that's a stunning revelation, because that's what this administration has been about right from the outset when they began 3 years ago and eased back on the Trump sanctions and told the Iranians they did that as a concession so they can make diplomatic foray and return to the nuclear deal. This appeasement strategy has failed miserably as a strategic strategy, and here we are still playing it out in the middle of a war, and our closest ally in the region is fighting for its very existence. And I believe administration officials every single day should remind the American people and the world writ large that this is an existential threat to Israel, to exterminate them as a body, where the people no longer want to live in Israel because the situation is so volatile. And here we have this situation. I give a lot of credit here, Martha, to the Israeli leadership in target selection. Normally something like this, overwhelming, devastating military attack, multiple targets, etc., collateral damage to be sure associated with something like that. But they clearly didn't want to spike the ball here and force Hezbollah into a major retaliation. So they selected a high-value target associated with the attack that just took place, killing all the children. One, they had the intelligence to do that. And two, I think it's measured in that sense because it has risk associated. If you're trying to target one person, then the likelihood that you could miss that person is real, as opposed to taking down installations, barracks, and the other things which are fixed and you know who's there. So I credit them for this target selection because I think they had retaliation of Hezbollah in mind in doing this. It remains to be seen now what Nasrallah's reaction will be to this, and also, is it really true that they missed the target? Look, at Hezbollah lies about this stuff. And I think there's going to have to be some verification before the final decree is made that this high-value target was not killed.
I want to go back to your point about making it clear that this is a moment where Iran, through its proxies, Hezbollah, and we've just heard from the Houthis and Hamas that they think that this was a heinous threat, right? So all of these voices speaking essentially on behalf
Something you don't see every day.
Does Iran look at this moment where we have a lame duck president? I think is very, I think it's a real characterization of what's going on at the White House, and the vice president who is out campaigning. Does Iran see this as a window to wipe Israel off the map, or to make a lot of strides toward that goal, General?
Yeah, well, I think what Iran has been doing is quite steady for the past 3+ years. I mean, they're flush with money because China is financing them, and there's no secondary sanctions being applied to that. So they've been able to really operationalize and give the major equipment and major training to all of their proxies. This is not isolated, that Russia went into Ukraine and did that very soon after the administration took power. I mean, they put 70,000 on the border in March, 60 days into the administration. And later, a year later, went into Ukraine after Afghanistan. It's not isolated that Iran stepped up their aggression with this administration, and it's been steady, marching towards that goal of doing two things: drive the United States out of the region militarily and diplomatically as much as possible, and destroy the state of Israel. Remember, before October the 7th, there were over 125 attacks by Iranian-backed Shia militia in Iraq and Syria. Over 125. That was before October 7th. This aggression has been there for a long time. And the United States has failed to pin the rose on Iran. We now have the commander of Central Command. For our audience, he commands all of our forces in the region. He has repeatedly asked for permission to shut down the Houthis by attacking Iran's capability to resupply them and take down their spy ship that's targeting for them in the Red Sea. And it keeps getting rejected. And as a result of that, the Suez Canal is essentially shut down. Is that a check mark for the Iranians in terms of this is something they strategically wanted to accomplish in terms of their influence and control of the region? You betcha. And what are we doing? We're in a defensive crouch as opposed to an offensive crouch and stopping them from doing it. So this is just another step, I think, to answer your question. Iran has been on the march, and they're going to continue to be on the march. Whether they see a vulnerability here and all-out attack, I don't see something like that. But the reality is their proxies are continuing to increase their capability and put pressure. And now we have Shia militias attacking the United States once again. Whether that continues remains to be seen. But Iran is the architect here, and we keep our hands off of it. We won't even go after them rhetorically, much less militarily, which most of us observers believe should be done.
Yeah. Well, they've been making a lot of headway in the past 3 years and taking advantage of a situation where really the White House almost never talks about Iran. It's as if this threat doesn't exist in terms of the priorities of this White House. And you've laid it out extraordinarily well, as always, General. Thank you very much for being here. Next time we need to talk more about this report that came out, because it shows that we are at a very weak stage of military readiness and that most Americans do not understand the threats that we face. So I hope we can talk about that more in our next visit. Thank you so much for being here, General.
Okay.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So we do expect to see J.D. Vance, the vice presidential nominee of the Republican Party, take the stage any minute now in Nevada. He's been under some heat of late since he took on the role alongside the ticket with President Trump. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris is on her way to Georgia, a state that Democrats think they have a shot at. So we're going to continue to cover all of these candidates as they are on the road. She will be naming her running mate any day now. We'll stay on that story as well. We'll talk about it as soon as we come back.
So this is how much they outperformed Biden's 2020 march in their last election. All these guys ran in 2022. And the one name that just stands up on this list is Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania. Look at this. He outperformed Biden by 14 points. My goodness gracious, look how hard that is. Sometimes I think an answer is just staring you straight in the face. And in this particular case, Josh Shapiro is looking at you right in the face.
Zyrtec allergy relief works fast. It lasts a full 24 hours, so Dave can be the deliverer of dance. Okay, Dave. Let's be more than our allergies. Seize the day with Zyrtec. Hi, I'm Gina. I was really upset with the way I had let myself. My cravings were out of control. I had to do something. We all know it's important to take care of our health, but it seems the trend is looking for a quick fix. And as a nurse, it's really important to me what I put in my body. The main difference with Bolo is the way I felt. I wasn't jittery. My cravings went away. I felt satisfied and healthy and had tons of energy. Give Bolo a shot. You won't be sorry.
At Biz2 Credit, we know you need to fund your business on time. When business is good, it could be time to expand. Time for Biz2 Credit. Bills are piling up. You might need extra cash to get ahead.
Time for Mr.
Our fast and convenient online process makes it easy to get the funding you need. When it's time to take your business to new heights, Biz2 Credit makes it possible. Go to biz2credit.com/time or call 800-200-2891. Biz2 Credit. Funding what's next.
One of my favorite supplements is Qunol turmeric. Turmeric helps with healthy joints and inflammation support. And Qunol has the #1 doctor recommended form of turmeric. Qunol, the brand I trust.
The best things in life come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 thumbs up. And now, buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's Strike 2 months free. All the fast, reliable, nationwide coverage. Make the switch today.
A vacation starts with how you get a private jet experience from one flight's budget. You've got to see this. Like in your itinerary, search from over 5,000 planes. Hey, and you're on your way. Nothing better than a personalized meal on board.
Okay.
A great vacation always starts with your flight experience. Oh, for a complimentary flight.
This is our future, Mom. Go Daddy
You'll
Arrow.
never know I'm
Creating
here.
logo, website, even social posts in minutes. How?
Hey, I like it. Who wants to come see the future?
Something you don't see every day.
Go Daddy Arrow.
So before her time in D.C., Kamala Harris racked up a very disgraceful record in California. Full details, vetting, the mob, the media will never do. Tonight on Hannity. I'm Daniel, the founder of Pretty Litter, the color-changing health monitoring calendar. Did you know that cats can...
You'll never know I'm here.
No,
Reports say that she's days away from making that announcement. Let's see if Trip caught up with on the trail here. Let's watch. Madam Vice President, have you chosen your VP yet? Have you chosen yet? Not yet, she said, as she headed up the stairs. So she was heading off to go to a rally in Atlanta. The Wall Street Journal reports that Democrats are feeling better about their chances of winning Georgia. And as former President Trump unveils a new campaign ad, he goes after Harris for her handling of the border. Watch a snippet of this.
You haven't been before.
I've never been to Europe. I don't understand the point that you're making.
Kamala Harris failed. Dangerously liberal.
So there's a look at the new Trump ad. Let's bring in Mark Cheeson, former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush, now an American Enterprise Institute senior fellow, Washington Post columnist, and Fox News contributor. Jose Aristimuño, former DNC deputy press secretary and former Obama administration official, and former Georgia Republican Congressman Doug Collins. Great job, all of you. Doug, let me start with you. Give us your take on what has changed in Georgia in the 2024 race with the new ticket, Kamala Harris against President Trump.
Well, really, I don't think nothing has, because the same issues are still, it's the Harris Biden administration that has caused the issues in Georgia that most Georgians are feeling right now. I think you're still seeing the polling showing Donald Trump ahead. And immigration, which Donald Trump is now hitting, is even more prevalent here in Georgia, where you had Lincoln Riley, who was killed. You also have, just in my home county, just right in the last few weeks, we've been dealing with Maria Perez, who was taken from her home here in Palm County by an illegal immigrant. You know, these issues are not changing, and Harris can say, Vice President Harris can say what she wants, but she's still going to answer for the economy. She's still going to answer for an open border situation, and she has to answer for the failures of this administration, of which she is a part of. Nothing's really changed in Georgia. It's always been tight, but Donald Trump is still ahead in Georgia, and I believe he'll stay there.
Okay.
That's what it is.
There's a piece in the New York Times that basically says that now Kamala Harris's team is saying that a lot of the opinions that she held as a candidate in 2019, she doesn't really think those things anymore. She hasn't said that, but her staff is saying it, and I think it raises the possibility of her being labeled a examine ICE maybe think about starting from scratch. I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a good deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning crack. And I'm actually feel very strongly about this, is that we need to have Medicare for all.
Assault weapons that are already in circulation. What do you do about those?
Look, there are approximately 5 million to your point, Frank. If we have to have
Okay.
support a mandatory buyback program.
Okay, so that last thing, now she says she doesn't support a mandatory buyback program. She didn't say that, her people said that, Jose. How difficult is this going to be for her to say, you know, why she has changed her opinion on these big issues, if indeed she has?
Well, look, it's a great question, Mark. I think first and foremost, we have to recognize that politicians evolve. Joe Biden has evolved as a candidate, as a president. Trump has flip-flopped around, has changed his views when it comes to different issues. But I got to tell you what, there's no question that Kamala Harris is a fresh start for her campaign. She's been able to raise, as you know, over $200 million in less than a week. And here's a different take on a recommendation I give Vice President Kamala Harris. If you want to stand up for democracy, if you want to be different, you know what? Talk about what's happening right now in Venezuela, Marlon. There's an election that just happened this Sunday where Maduro is staying in power illegally. Democrats and Republicans should talk about what's happening in Venezuela. If we care about democracy, we ought to defend what is happening in Venezuela. If we care about democracy, we ought to call out dictators like Nicolas Maduro. And I think Democrats ought to do. I think, you know, always in the Republicans have stood up to dictators. I think Democrats and Kamala Harris has a great, important moment right now to stand up for what's happening in Venezuela. There's over 1 million Venezuelans right now in this country that if she gets the Venezuelans...
No kidding. No kidding. There's 1 million Venezuelans in this country right now. You know, several of them are part of the gang in New York that like to knock over the leaders of the person. So we're pretty familiar with what's going on with the deportation from Venezuela of a lot of criminals to this country. Mark, your take on how she navigates this, because we all know, as Jose says, politicians evolve, which means they change their opinions to suit the electorate at the time.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very hard. Because it was very hard for her to be tough on Venezuela when her administration is the one that lifted the sanctions in exchange for this election, which the Maduro regime then finally stole. So that's going to be a hard sell. In addition to all the for Venezuela coming over here. But hold on, let me speak. She's got a big problem, which is that she didn't have a primary. And so because she didn't have a primary, she hasn't been tested. But the advantage of that is that these centrist Democrats that she is now auditioning for vice president, if they had run against her, they would be the ones who have been quoting all of these extreme positions and saying she's too extreme to get elected. Why don't you pick a centrist like me? So now she's trying to tap to the center and erase her record, and she can't do that because it's not Donald Trump saying these things, it's Kamala Harris saying these things. All those quotes you showed are her in her own words, saying that her policies are more extreme than Joe Biden's. You know, and she's running from being the border czar. That's an admission that the Biden border policy is an absolute disaster, because if it was a success, she'd be clamoring to be called the border czar. She'd call it a badge of honor. And if she doesn't want to be the border czar, then explain to us, how would your border policy be different than Joe Biden's?
Okay.
I hope we get some meaty debates, and I hope we get several of them, because this is part of the process the American people have a right to see between these two candidates. I want to play this from Laura Ingraham's interview, Doug, with former President Trump last night. Watch this.
It was a great debate. It was actually, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I shouldn't have debated so well because of it. And, that was the end of him. I would rather run against her than him. I think she's easier than he is, because he had a certain. I always felt he was.
Scranton Joe.
I always felt he was incompetent, but he had a certain base, and no matter how bad he was, people were going to vote for him. She doesn't have that base.
Okay, Doug. We've seen the polls tighten. Clearly, it's in better territory than Biden was with young voters, Hispanic voters, Black voters. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and look, I think it's always been tight, but I think also you've got to turn in the media. The media went from pounding Joe Biden for 2 weeks and pounding him down, and they saw the disconnect he had, to now only doing anything but uplift Vice President Harris. Because,
and remember, they come to Kamala Harris before that. They said she should be dropped from the ticket. Remember that?
Exactly. So it's amazing to see here. But look, I think what Donald Trump said, just to emphasize what we just said here, just that Mark and I said especially, is that she's got to answer for stuff she's never had to answer for before.
All right, thank you very much, Doug Collins, Jose Arcino, and Mark Chiesa. Great panel. Thank you, gentlemen. So the new details revealed at the fiery hearing today on Capitol Hill. Did you see this? We're going to show you some of the most fiery back and forth. And let me tell you, between Ted these leaders of the FBI and Secret Service representatives about the attempted assassination of former President Trump, boy, they did not have good answers. It is not going to make you feel better about how these entities are operating. So we'll show you that next.
I've been very transparent and forthcoming. Their agency has not been transparent and forthcoming, so please, let's not go there. I have been forthcoming, sir. You've been, well, that remains to be seen. You've been on the job a few days. So far, you've fired nobody.
I'm Judge Napolitano. Let me give it to you straight. I've personally seen what goes on in D.C., and folks, we're going to have some real challenges ahead. Congress can't stop spending money. The Fed can't stop printing money. And our national debt is destroying America. How could this impact you? Well, your dollars buy less, and the value of your retirement could be worth less. That's why gold is so important. It puts you in control of your wealth. So if you'd like to learn more, call my friends at Near Capital. They have over 25 years of experience and thousands of 5-star reviews and a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. I buy my gold. Near is who I trust.
Call now for your free gold and silver guide and receive Lear's latest report, $3,200 gold. See how exploding U.S. debt could get us there. When you call, ask how you can also get up to $15,000 in bonus gold. Call now to see how much bonus gold you qualify for. Call 800-880-2424. 800-880-2424.
Have you always had trouble losing weight and keeping it? Same.
Discover the power of Wegovy. With Wegovy, I lost 35 pounds. And some lost over 46 pounds. Wegovy.
And I'm keeping the weight off.
Wegovy helps you lose weight and keep it off. I'm reducing my risk. Wegovy is the only FDA-approved weight management medicine that's to reduce risk of major cardiovascular events and also heart disease and obesity or overweight. Wegovy should be used as an antidote for GLP-1 medicines. Don't take Wegovy if you or your family have medullary thyroid cancer, neoplasia syndrome, type 2, or if allergic to it. Stop Wegovy and get medical help right away. No longer swelling in your head, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis and gallbladder problems. Wegovy may cause low blood sugar, diabetes, especially if you take medicines to treat diabetes. Tell your provider about pain problems or changes, or if you feel your heart
Good boy.
depression or thoughts of suicide may occur. Call your provider right away if you have any mental changes. Common side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may cause kidney problems.
With Wegovy,
I'm losing weight.
Okay.
keeping it off.
And I'm lowering my CV risk. That's the power of winning. Check your Boston coverage before talking to your healthcare professional about Wegovy.
These bills are crazy. She has no idea she's sitting on a gold mine. She doesn't know that if she owns a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, she can sell all or part of it to Coventry for cash, even a term policy. Get your policy?
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-496-9200 or visit CoventryDirect.com.
Short time ago, a tense hearing wrapping on Capitol Hill, where the acting Secret Service director, remember, this is the guy who took over for Cheadle, whose hearing was disastrous. She answered nothing. He says he is ashamed of the failures around the assassination attempt on former President Trump.
I acknowledge
This was a failure. Is it not prima facie that somebody has failed? The former president was shot. Sir, this could have been our Texas school book depository. I have lost sleep over that for the last 17 days. Just like you, somebody. And I will tell you, Senator, Senator, that I will not rush to judgment, that people will be held accountable, and I will do so with integrity and not rush to judgment and put people unfairly persecuted. Unfairly, sir.
And that's just one sample of how heated it got in there, rightfully so, given what happened about 17 days ago. So the acting director, Rowe, placed much of the blame on local law enforcement as the finger pointing at both levels continues. Watch this.
The only thing we had was that locals were working an issue at the 3 o'clock, which would have been the former president's right-hand side, which is where the shot came. Nothing about man on the roof, nothing about man with a gun. None of that information ever made it over our net. We didn't challenge our own assumptions of, we assume that someone's going to cover that. We assume that there's going to be uniform presence. It could not, and I will not, and I cannot understand why there was not better coverage, or at least somebody looking at that roof line.
We gotta take better care of our lives.
Well, we all feel that way. Senator Rick Scott
Got a camp soon.
watching it all live in Washington and bringing
Taking all these traps right up the ass, and I got no rogue.
Incredibly so, Martha. A lot of angry Republicans and Democrats, senators from both sides of the aisle, grilling the active Secret Service director and the deputy FBI director. Unlike last week, as you mentioned, the former Secret Service director, we got some more substantive answers today. Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe and Deputy FBI Director Paul Bates. Some different questions. Rowe was grilled about how a 20-year-old with a gun was able to take a clear shot of the former president. He told the committee he personally went to the site last week to see the scene of the crime.
I went to the roof of the ATR building where the assailant fired shots, and I laid in a prone position to evaluate his line of sight. What I saw made me ashamed. As a career law enforcement officer and a 25-year veteran with the Secret Service, I cannot defend why that roof was not better secured.
If this happened in the military, a lot of people would be fired. Somebody's got to be fired. Nothing's going to change until somebody loses their job.
Rowe told senators people will possibly be fired once the disciplinary investigation is complete. As he said that montage, he doesn't want to rush judgment in the investigation of the shooter himself. That's the FBI's job. The FBI, Martha, has yet to identify a motive. The Bureau confirms the July 13th shooting was planned days in advance.
On July 6th, the shooter registered to attend the rally and performed a search for, quote, how far was Oswald from Kennedy. On July 7th, the shooter traveled from his home to the Butler Farm Show grounds and remained there for approximately 20 minutes.
The Bureau says crooks had multiple encrypted emails and agents have yet to break into some of those accounts.
Okay, David, thank you very much. Let's bring in Florida Republican Senator Rick Scott, member of the Homeland Security Committee, was in that hearing today. Senator Scott, I watched the exchange with Mr. Rowe and the deputy as well. It just goes back. I kept asking the same question all morning. Why wasn't there a U.S. Secret Service sniper on that roof, which was one of the very few spots that was elevated to the left or to the right? We never got an answer to that question, except, the locals said they had it covered.
Well, first off, the Secret Service is responsible. The American public is asking questions. They want to know what happened. They want to know who's being held accountable. And they want to know, is this not going to happen again? What they should be doing is they should be doing daily press conferences with you, with the media, answering everybody's question. Because right now, what are they doing? What they're doing is, it looks like, that's a cover.
Hey there.
There's all sorts of information out there. We're not getting the facts. So I had two national around the government. We had the Post nightclub. I had local, state, and federal law enforcement. We did two press conferences every day and answer all the questions. Same after the Parkland school shooting. That's what they should be doing. I don't get it, because what they're doing is they're making people worry that they've got this as a deep state. And that there's going to be a cover. Wonderful Secret Service agents.
FBI agents, people working in Homeland Security. And what they need is they need for their leadership to get the heck out of their offices and go answer some questions and say exactly what happened so we make the American public comfortable. This will not happen again, and somebody's going to be held accountable.
Absolutely. I mean, the Secret Service director stepped down right after Ronald Reagan, the president, was shot at, and took responsibility. It's very clear that there were people, including the field office in Pittsburgh, who should absolutely, their jobs should be at least on the line at this point. Here's Senator Mike Lee pressing on why President Trump was even allowed on the stage, given the presence of a suspicious individual, which they were all aware of by that point. Watch.
Why was President Trump allowed to take the stage at 6:02 p.m., exactly 17 minutes after multiple suspicious person reports were provided, complete with photos and information suggesting that the assailant had a rangefinder, something that ordinary people don't use in this kind of circumstance?
Senator, again, it was suspicion, not weapon, or there was never communication of that there was an individual with a gun or threat or other bad intentions.
Okay, so that, you know, I mean, that part is bad enough. And then you listen to the local law enforcement who discovered that he had a gun, right? And then we heard from, in an exchange with Senator Ossoff, you know, oh, well, we can't possibly communicate with each other after Rose said, you know, the meeting before, the week before, is so we can all exchange numbers and make sure we have contact. But here's Ossoff. I want to play this, and then I want to get your thoughts on all of that, if I can, Senator. Here we go.
There is not currently the capability for example, state law enforcement, SWAT personnel, or local law enforcement officers to communicate directly with Secret Service officers on site.
So there, technically you could do it, but it would take a long time to get it done. And for a 1 day or an 8-hour operation, it requires a lot. And it would be months of planning.
What is the point of having local law enforcement on the scene at 3 o'clock if you can't communicate with them, Senator?
It's just all you do is you would have vetted the Secret Service with the local law enforcement. I mean, that's what we do. I did that after hurricanes of Florida. You get somebody from the state and our state agency and with the locals, so there's perfect communication. I mean, it's not that hard. So, and don't blame things on the locals. This is the Secret Service's responsibility. It's the leadership's responsibility. And do you want the person responsible for that event, the Secret Service, to do Trump's next event? I don't.
Keeping an eye on.
Yeah, President Trump said that they, increased the security around him. But, there's a lot of theories out there on what was going on. And you're so right. If you don't speak to people every day, you're leaving open a gulf of conspiracy for why he was not better protected, Senator.
It doesn't make any sense. I have people come up to me all the time. Hey, was there a second shooter? How'd the gun get up there? I mean, tell people, give people as much information as you have, and then they just keep people informed. How many times in our lifetime does a person get shot? It doesn't happen very often. So shouldn't we have more information?
Yep, and we've had a president shot in 43 years, and I think that leads to questions about complacency at the very least in this situation. And it is, if you don't fire people, then you don't have standards, essentially, because the standards just slip and slip and slip, and nobody ever sees anyone get fired, so they don't worry about 3 o'clock position over there on the roof. It's incredible. Substantial hearing today. I hope it gets some serious results. Senator, thank you very much. Senator Rick Scott in Florida. Always good to have you with us. So Jonathan Turley coming up on why he says the Biden-Harris plan to overhaul the Supreme Court is a sacrifice of sorts to the far left. He's next.
The president himself, on campaign trail in 2020, said about term limits. President's come and go. Supreme Court justice stayed for generations. Not trying to change that at all. It was 2 different days of spokesman. So how did we get there?
Sure.
You know the role. Everyone's at the dinner table.
I know, I'm sorry. It's just Noble Gold Investments. I bought some gold for the kids. Fine. Huh? The gold you bought me gives me so so much security in this economic disaster we're having. I want that for them too.
Well, I've been investing with Noble Gold Investments for years. Pretty sure they can wait until after lunch.
Invest in something you can hold. Invest in Noble Gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to learn more.
Introducing Ned's Black Psoriasis. He thinks his flaky red patches are all people see.
Otezla is the #1 prescribed pill to treat plaque psoriasis. Otezla can help you get clearer skin and reduce itching and flaking. No routine blood test required. Doctors have been prescribing Otezla for over a decade. Otezla is also approved to treat psoriatic arthritis. Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions can happen. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Some people taking Otezla have depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur.
With clear skin, live at the home. Ask your doctor about Otezla.
Stay tuned to learn more about this limited time offer from Renewal by Anderson.
We all have that list of home improvement projects we need to do, and if replacing your home's windows and doors is on that list, you want to know that it's going to be affordable. I'm from Renewal by Anderson. We've helped thousands of customers who are on a budget.
And that's how it's done.
How do we do it? Well, here's something you don't expect to hear from me. You don't have to upgrade all your They're really good at identifying bad windows, those you can wait on.
Let's
Here's
have
something
it
neat offers.
These ones are in for a walloping.
Great. With Renewal by Anderson, you can have monthly payments that'll probably be lower than your cable bill. With another program, you can get windows and doors now and not pay anything for an entire year. No wonder half of our customers finance. Before we talk about the warranty, think about other things you want. Did it sometimes feel like you had to buy the expensive extended warranty to get the good coverage? That's never the case with us. Our windows are so durable and our installers are so talented, unlike some other companies. Our warranties cover the windows, patio doors, and
It's really impressive that they sell the product, they manufacture the product, they install the product, because then you're dealing with one company, and you're dealing with one company that has a long-standing and solid reputation.
That Renewal by Anderson helps put great windows and doors in your budget this year.
Or July 31st, buy one window, patio door, or entry door, and get the next one 40% off. That's 40% off with a minimum purchase of 4. Our financing can make this project more affordable. With no money down, no monthly payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer ends July 31st. For a free appointment with Renewal by Anderson, call 1-800-704-4200. That's 1-800-704-4200.
At Biz2 Credit, we know you need to fund your business on time. When business is good, it could be time to expand. Time for Biz2 Credit. When bills are piling up, you might need extra cash to get ahead.
Time for Vista Credit.
Our fast and convenient online process makes it easy to get the funding you need. When it's time to take your business to new heights, Biz2 Credit makes it possible. Go to biz2credit.com/time or call 800-200-2891. Biz2 Credit, funding what's next.
So the White House taking questions from
Okay, we'll search the rest of the place.
President Harris have called for a major shakeup to the Supreme Court, including term limits of 18 years. Republicans say that the plan is going nowhere in Congress. Here's our senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich at the briefing moments ago. Watch.
President himself, on the campaign trail in 2020, said about term limits, presidents come and go. Supreme Court justice stayed for generations. I'm not trying to change that at all. It was 2 different days he spoke to this. So how did we get there?
First of all, he appreciates the commission, appreciates the work that they've done. Their job was to give the president some thoughts and ideas, and obviously the president makes the final decision on how he wants to move forward. We have to look at what the Supreme Court's have done. I'm not done. Let me finish the question. In the past several weeks, the actions that the Supreme Court has taken in undermining democracy and the rule of law, that's important. The president felt he needed to address this.
So let's bring in Jonathan Turley, constitutional law attorney, GW law professor, Fox News contributor, and author of the new book, The Indispensable Right, Free Speech in an Age of Rage. Jonathan, great to have you with us. And, you know, I watched that exchange, and she is basically saying, well, of course the president has to change the Supreme Court because he doesn't like the rulings that they have been making, and they're undermining democracy. Your reaction to all of that?
Well, of course, it's entirely untrue. But what was really chilling about that statement is she suggested, well, the last few weeks is what decided the question, that these cases went against what the president wanted, and he said, okay, we'll just change the fundamental aspects of the court. I mean, who would watch that and say that seems like a clever or wise move? And the fact is, it wasn't the shift in these cases. We all know that this offer was made to the Progressive Caucus in a desperate attempt by the president to resuscitate his nomination. And this was all done in the open. He made this pledge, which is what they wanted, what he has refused to give them. And the fact is clear that if he had been 10 points ahead of that point, the Supreme Court might be protected for another 10 years. That's what the dynamic was. And he's really insulting the intelligence of the American people to do that openly and then claim, well, there was a number of opinions that just went wrong. So after 2 centuries, I've decided to kill life tenure on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, it strikes me that this concept of the immunity finding, and that it's so egregious that we need to reorganize the Supreme Court and make sure that every president in their second year gets to pick a justice. I went back and forth with this with Congressman Dan Golden a bit.
See where you're going with that.
Yesterday.
Give me a real
just
challenge.
asking and trying to drill down on the fact that the immunity ruling did not really change the underpinning of this understanding that official acts by a president are covered, but unofficial acts are not covered. Has something so dramatically changed?
Let's save this.
That it's shaking up democracy.
No, you couldn't blame the justices for being attacked.
We'll catch you guys on the next one, all right? Peace.
Extreme